Peace and blessings, everyone. Peace and blessings. This is Naseed Gifted coming to you live for the Futures is Black podcast. And today we have a number of things that we're going to be talking about, but I wanted to open with this statement. The best way to predict the future is to create it. And that kind of sets the tone for the episode that we're going to be talking about today. And today's episode is episode 11, Afrofuturism Beyond Wakanda. Beyond Wakanda. Join us on this thrilling journey into the future as we explore Afrofuturism beyond the borders of Wakanda. Our podcast delves into the intersection of technology, culture, and imagination, showcasing the rich tapestry of Afrofuturistic visions that will go beyond the iconic world of Wakanda. From the cutting edge tech innovations to speculative narratives, we will uncover the untold stories shaping the Afrofuturism in the digital age. So, thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This is the Futures Black podcast, broadcasting each and every Thursday. We want you to thank you for tuning in, and we also want to thank you for tuning in each and every Thursday with regards to this podcast. And we're excited. I am by myself today, as you can see, but definitely want to be thankful and grateful for all of the individuals who've been providing feedback, who's been doing some great and phenomenal things. If you're tuning in now, please let us know where you're tuning in from. That helps us grow the channel, but it allows us also to be able to reach further and go deeper into the content. If you have questions, concerns, all of the stuff that we've been talking about over the last couple of months, hey, please make sure that you tap in, don't tap out. So I wanted to kind of start and get into a number of things, but we want to talk about Afrofuturism and this particular lens and how we actually get into all of this stuff. And there's a number of things that I want to kind of get into. Shout out to Dilettante J. Bass, who is my co-host, who is doing some phenomenal work. And when we talk about being intentional, right? So Afrofuturism, and we talk about the lens and being very intentional. He is a part of, shout out to HBCU Scholarship Ride. They are doing a Black college tour. They are actually finishing up. They've pretty much traveled the whole East Coast, where they were going to Hampton, Howard, Morgan, Bennett College, North Carolina A&T, and a number of things, which are a number of these schools have been not only tapping into the various careers within STEM, or STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. But we talk about just being, like I said, very intentional of how we change this paradigm and getting more individuals into these STEM and STEAM career paths, which is the largest growth market, over the next 10 years. So shout out to the HBCU Scholarship Ride, which I am proud to participate in each and every year. They're looking to raise, last year they raised over $100,000 for NORC students to go to HBCUs. But this year the goal, I believe, is 250,000. And I mean, they've been doing a number of things. And one of the things is this campaign to be able to kind of tap in. So once again, I want to kind of talk about, Afrofuturism going beyond Wakanda. And we always talk about Wakanda because Wakanda, and when we talk about Afrofuturism, is interchangeable in a sense, only because people from mass media recognize Wakanda, right? You see the rich tapestry of the African diasporic culture that was within it, the technology, the visuals, I mean, the culture, all of those things. And when we talk about Afrofuturism, that is something that we always want to kind of tap into, with regards to everything that we're doing, here on this particular podcast. But I wanted to kind of just make sure that we define this. And Afrofuturism is a movement in literature, music, in all of the media arts, where we feature in futuristic or science fiction themes which incorporate elements of Black history and culture, or anything from the African diaspora. So that is something that we are, definitely like to talk about. And I want to talk about some innovators and creators within this space, because the only way that we are able to tap into all of this stuff is by, highlighting those contemporary individuals who have been doing the work. So some people uh, are familiar with a number of individuals like Octavia Butler, who is a phenomenal writer, author, who predicted us in the future. And we're going to talk about the social and political aspects of that. But why is it so important to be able to predict the future for Black people and Black and browns in general? You have Janelle Monáe, who is a phenomenal artist. You have Sun Ra, who was one of the forefathers of this movement. And you can even go back to Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington. I would even consider Harriet Tubman as an Afrofuturist, because she had Afrofuturistic ideals when he would talk about freeing slaves and thinking of a time when we were free. Those are all different individuals and ideals and mindsets that we have to tap into when we talk about moving beyond Wakanda and the technology and everything. Elijah Wormsley, who is an artist, a phenomenal artist. I want to give her a shout out. Tim Fielder, who's an Afrofuturistic animator, illustrator, and Yatasha Walmack. And I'm sorry, Tim Fielder out of New York, Yatasha Walmack out of Chicago, who is just a number of individuals who I've been on a ton of panels with. John Jennings, who is a phenomenal artist, author, has a number of graphic novel series, and Machindo, who is, he doesn't consider himself an Afrofuturistic, but when we talk about Afrofuturism, he was that before there was actually a term, because the layers of detail that he actually puts within his art is so futuristic, and detailed, and actually taps into not only the African diaspora, but when we go into comedics and how we talk about balance and everything. So shout out to him. And he was actually a guest. So if you haven't seen him or heard from him, please make sure you tap into one of our previous episodes, where he talks about artificial intelligence and how that is shaping the industry. A lot of the stuff that we're talking about when we talk about Beyond Wakanda kind of is a segment or snippet of a lot of the things that we've been talking about over the past couple of weeks. But now we're doing a more comprehensive look at what it is and what is Afrofuturism beyond Wakanda, and how do we even tap into that. And then, when we have individuals like Cheryl Hall of Wise Engineering, who gets government contracts and takes gaming simulations for the defense companies and stuff like that, for the Department of Defense, and being able to gamify these particular machine operations, modules, training platforms and stuff, using 3D printing, all of those different things, where we take engineering to the next level. And then I'm gonna say one of my mentor, one of so inspirational, is Jayla Eason, who is the creator of Sunman, who's also been a fond participant of KHEM Fest, which is a celebration, a festival that celebrates Black animation, gaming, and comic book creators, which is going to be having its 10th annual uh, 10th anniversary in Miami, Florida, April 27th and 28th, which is going to be a part of ByteCon week, and we're going to get into that a little bit later, which is all a part of Miami Tech Month. So Miami Tech Month is all April in Miami, Florida. So we're tapping in, and we're going to have a Black Tech Week called ByteCon Week, which is a super phenomenal, and shout out to my partners Kamara and Tamonte, and Sharonda Allen, who's a part of all of the stuff that we've been doing for the last couple of months. But I just want to take a moment, because I'm grateful, I'm blessed, to be able to not only be here today, but because we're in Downtown Realty Studios, I want to, just have a moment of prayer for my good brother Melvin, or who I'm praying to, get well soon. Melvin, thank you for everything, man. Wishing for nothing but your health and wealth, and looking forward to you getting well soon. So prayers go out to you, Melvin. Thank you once again. And shout out to Downtown Realty. Shout out to Just Fish, who has been a sponsor of what we've been doing with KHEM Fest and everything. So Gary, thank you for all the opportunities and everything. And I want to give a quick shout out to Davion Bussey, who's the director. He is the director of the KHEM Animation Film Festival, KAFF, which is going to have his feature. We're going to have about 20 KHEM Animation Film Festival films within our film festival, premiering on April 27th. So definitely tap into that, you know. And last but not least, I want to shout out Derek Garvin, who has actually been a guest, who is the CEO of Poet Code, Afrofuturism game development company, who's putting out a project, Dynasty of the Magi, which is going to be launching really soon. They're going to be beta testing. So please make sure you tap in. We're going to make sure that we put that out. And if you haven't seen him in the project of Dynasty of the Magi, please make sure you tap into some of the previous episodes that we talked about. And William Jones, who is the host of Afrofuturism Network. Oh, and I'm sorry, and I almost skipped over one individual. My sister from across the country over on the West Coast, Dr. Lawana Richmond, who is the founder of Afrofuturism Lounge and Afrofuturism Dream Tank. So these are individuals who are putting in the work, making sure that not only our futures are being told, that we are sitting at the table of which we are looking to be a part of. So once again, this is a movement, and we need you to be a part of the movement. And we're going to explore how a number of things as far as technology and plays a pivotal excuse me. Wow, look at that. Let me take a second and drink some water. Pivotal role in shaping Afrofuturism narratives. So there's a number of things that when we talk about technology and how technology is playing a role within shaping Afrofuturistic narratives, we talk about social media. I think about the graphic novel series P.B.Soldier that we came out with in 2012, and now the graphic novel where we have this and Jazen, the rose that grew from the concrete. When we first came out, social media was just hitting, and we wanted to make sure that, we had presence. Before, it was hand to mouth flyers. You had to make sure you were on certain radio stations, certain news media outlets and everything. Now marketing is just become something that, you have to put the time and energy into. And that's what social media allows you to do, to be able to not only tap in, you can actually find your tribe. It's all about finding your tribe, right? So you can use IG or X or, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn to find your tribe. And when you find your tribe, you tap into them and give them what they're looking for. For us, it was an Afrofuturistic graphic novel series, which is now turning into animated short. And then just kind of leveraging that, and then just making sure we were very intentional about making presence and making sure presence was known. So I wanted to kind of tap into that, when we talk about the technologies and everything, and then how AI plays a pivotal part, within this Afrofuturistic narratives, because we talk about things like ChatGPT, Sora, and all of these Mid-Journey and all these other things that have made things a lot more not easier, because I'm not going to say easier, but being able to take things to another level. So if you wanted to do concept designs, if you wanted to be able to format the next level of work, you can do all of those things using artificial intelligence. You want to frame out what's the best strategies in order to be able to find your tribe. Those things all happen, using, platforms like social media. But then how do you penetrate social media? Because there is so much content out there now. You leverage something like AI, and it kind of gives you a roadmap to be able to kind of do those things. And then you have to produce content. So being able to produce content, that's another avenue that you can use to be able to leverage your business. When you talk about virtual assistants and all of these other things, you got to use these things as tools, or they will become a weapon. So either you use it as a tool to be able to help and further your mission, or it becomes a weapon where it actually takes you out, at the end of the day. And then you got stuff like Web 3.0, streaming, and how that's shaping these narratives. And then now we talk about cryptocurrency, blockchain, all the altcoins and all of this stuff, where you talk about Bitcoin and your Ethereum and all of these things. That's a way of decentralizing the way to actually conduct business and having universal commerce. I know I used to have to do conversion factors using PayPal and some other platforms when I'm doing business overseas and everything. Now you can use universal currency, which doesn't have to have a current conversion rate or anything like that. These things are making business a lot more easier, but also allowing you to be able to touch, people not only locally, but globally. So we're going from local to global, and being able to have that reach, within these various markets. I remember going to Senegal in 2001, where we had the infrastructure for the internet over here, but when I tapped in over there, I had to go to internet cafes in order to connect to, online and everything. And that was in 2001. But now they have more of the infrastructure to be able to tap into, these various things. And now more people have, these iPhones or smartphones to be able to carry the internet around anywhere that they go, which changed business dramatically. I used to remember where there was e-commerce and you had to have your swipe card to be able to take credit cards. Now you could tap and everything on your phone, which has changed business. Like I said, these are ways of, changing business and the way business is being done. Right. So I just wanted to kind of tap into some of those things. But if you haven't done so, we need you to do a few things. Nope, that wasn't it. We don't need you to do that right now. We need you to don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for watching the Futures Black podcast each and every Thursday. Each and every Thursday, we're tapping in, we're tapping in. And then once again, like I said, this is episode 11. We're talking about Afrofuturism, beyond Wakanda. And we're going to get into a couple of things, but we're talking about tech innovations, right? One of the things I had to experience this weekend, and we talk about tech innovations, and one of those innovations when we talk about Afrofuturism and putting that lens of what the future could look like, for people to be able to see. This has been so inspiring. I want to shout out to Vince Frazier, who has and who's out the UK, but he has I see Afro frequencies, right? Afro frequencies, which I went to the Art Tech House. And this is pretty much we talk about projection mapping. Now, I've actually attended this exhibit in Washington, D.C., and I wanted to go again, be inspired, because one of the things that I do is I look at different technologies, and it inspires me because with the last 2 years, we actually had the Futures Black Afrofuturism Art and Tech Gallery, where we had 4 elements of Afrofuturism, where we talk about architecture, we talk about fashion, we talk about art and fashion, art, and technology. So we incorporated all of those things into our Afrofuturism art and tech gallery, and it was a phenomenal hit. And one of the things that I did, I went to the underground in Atlanta, and they had a digital gallery, and I kind of took elements of that, and then we actually had about 10 uh, 10 resident artists who had their art on display. We had a architecture, you know, piece built with Legos. So their young people's interpretation of what the future could look like, and they built these exhibits and stuff. So saying all of that, I like to be inspired. I like to look at different things and stuff. So I went to this immersive art exhibit at the Art Tech House, which featured Vince Frazier. Vince Frazier, who is Afrofuturistic, Afro-realist, realism artist out of the UK. And I just want to show you this video clip, and I want you to just kind of see, and definitely make sure that you like, comment, and share. And if you have any questions, let us know where you're tuning in from, and let us know what you think. All I can say is wow, right? Mind blowing, mind blowing. So that is an immersive art exhibit by Vince Frazier. And within that, you see the Afrofuturistic element, right? You see Afrofuturism, you're immersed in all of it. And that's what we call projection mapping. So projection mapping is mapping all of the walls around you. So to the left, to the right, to the floor, you see the images all, and you're immersed into this particular space. And then he actually has motion sensors and other project tracking aspects in which you're being able to tap in. But that was just like super phenomenal. And then when I think about projection mapping and the elements of something that most people are not really familiar with, um it's an art in itself, and then you add the Afrofuturism lens onto it, man, the possibilities are endless. So shout out to Vince Frazier. And then also, I actually got an opportunity to see MJ the musical, where they actually use projection mapping, for part of the storytelling. So we talk about creative ways how we're using and leveraging technology to be able to tell stories, right? So within Vince Frazier's telling of his art, he actually has an artist reading live poetry while this is all going on. So that is something that we're talking about. And then we talk about tech and innovation, and we talk about talking about Afrofuturism. How does these inventions or reparations, take when we talk about Afrofuturism? So that when we talk about social and political and getting into that, it's about taking mental images and making them real. So Afrofuturism is about foreshadowing the future with the African diasporic lens, right? So being able to do that and doing it effectively, because we need to make sure that we can imagine again. Sometimes we need to be able to think and imagine, because when we talk about reparations, we talk about reparations and how reparations are not being given. But with this Afrofuturism lens, uh, and especially in the various media types, we can tell a story of what it could look like, and then start the commentary from there. When we talk about politics, when we talk about the social ills that go on within society, uh, we could talk about future worlds where police brutality, social injustice, drug and substance abuse, all the things that affect the Black and brown communities, poverty, equity, education reform, and workforce development. You know, so we could use Afrofuturism and the technologies that we have today to be able to shape that picture and be able to tell our story and know what that narrative is. You know, because when we get into something like workforce development, we know that black and browns, and I've been saying this stat, make up less than 5% of the STEM workforce, which has the largest growth market. So parents, if you out there, you trying to figure out, okay, what I want my child to go into, you know, make them go into the STEM fields, right? Um, and I talked about this last week, but I had a Jets player come and talk to some of my students. And the one thing that he kind of honed in on, and that it just stays right here in the cranium, he says, everyone cannot go professional in sports, but everyone can go professional in STEM because that is that many opportunities out there. And it's for us to be able to take advantage of it, you know? So, how do we make this intentional? How do we do these things and do what is needed for the community when we talk about beyond Wakanda and just being intentional? And one thing, and I will talk about the effort, and I know I mentioned it earlier. When we talk about the effort, one of the things that uh, we are being very intentional about is Miami Tech Week, right? So this is going, I mean, excuse me, Miami Tech Month. So Miami Tech Month is happening right now. And then a part of that, we actually have ByteCon. And ByteCon, I wanted to kind of talk about it. We have ByteCon, which is Black Innovation Tech in Entertainment. You know, it's a convention, but we made it into ByteCon Week, and KHEM FEST is a part of ByteCon Week. So we have 8 days of activations that are going to be happening and just being real intentional. So we have something for from Sunday to Sunday, and I want to kind of give you a quick clip of what this is going to look like. Wrong clip. So I want to show you a quick clip of what this is going to look like. I mean, hey, how dope is that, right? How dope is that? So Sunday, we got the golf tournament. You know, we're talking about golf and tech. Um, we roll into the hackathon, so the Dream Cities hackathons. Then from there, we go into ByteCon week. We got the opening at the cave, and then you got ByteCon conference day 1, day 2. We got the Futures Black Tesla, excuse me, the Futures Black Tesla Light Show. So if you're a Tesla owner, please make sure that you sign up for the Futures Black Tesla Light Show happening on that Friday, the 26th. I know the flyers have been saying the 27th, but we are capitalizing on the 26th. Then we actually have from there, we actually have KHEM Fest, the 10th annual KHEM Fest and KHEM Animation Film Festival, which is a celebration of Black animation, gaming, and comic book creators. That night, that Saturday night, we got the Wakanda Ball at the Little Haiti Cultural Center. So that is going to be something. So when we talk about what beyond Wakanda, we're talking about, you know, immersing you within Wakanda to actually take you beyond Wakanda. So that is actually happening, you know, in a number of things that's happening, you know, throughout that particular week. So if you haven't tapped in already, make sure that you tap into that. That is actually going to be on bytecon-byte.com-org, and make sure you know, you look into that, if you haven't gotten tickets, make sure that you register. And like I said, it's Miami Tech Month, and we have ByteCon Week, which is a part of that. And if you haven't done so already, please make sure you go to KHEMFest.com, for tickets for the KHEM Fest, the 10th annual KHEM Fest, and the KHEM Animation Film Festival, and the Wakanda Ball, which is all a part of ByteCon Week, man. So we are super excited about that. There's a number of things that's happening, but we want to talk about how do we look forward? How do we be able to tap into all of this? And we're going to take a quick. You're tuned into the Futures Black podcast every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for tuning in. This is your host, Naseed Gifted. Once again, my co-host, Dilettante J. Bass, is not here this evening, but he is doing something super powerful. They're on their way back from the HBCU tour, which is a part of the HBCU scholarship ride that we do. And that scholarship ride is where we ride from Newark, New Jersey. And when I say we, I mean the organization. I actually haven't even done the actual ride yet, but I do plan on doing a leg of the ride this year, from Newark, New Jersey, all the way to Howard University in Washington, D.C. So that is about 230 something miles, riding from Friday to Sunday, where they end up in the yard. And they do this to send a number of individuals, from students from Newark to HBCUs. So if you have a young person who is interested in going to a HBCU, please make sure that you tap into the HBCU scholarship ride, where we are doing that. So how do we get beyond Wakanda? And we look at all of this stuff, as far as some of the key points. I wanted to kind of talk about some of the stuff with regards to space exploration, some of the things that, when we talk about the future and some of the key points. I was looking at a number of things, but what the future, right? And NVIDIA has a new robot called Groot, right? And versus the Tesla Optimus, and they were talking about how humanoid robots are going to actually be affordable, but also have an opportunity to be able to not only complete tasks that humans are doing, but being able to not operate more efficiently and effectively. They have them traveling over different terrains. So now instead of just doing the mundane jobs, they actually having them doing more, human tasks. That's going to be. So when we talk about iRobot, not with that level of flexibility, but we're getting there. And then something else that I looked at when we were talking about current news, about what the future. They were talking about 3D printing space rockets, which is, I know we talked about 3D printing in one of the previous episodes, but space exploration, one of the major hurdles or challenges with space exploration is materials, because once you're in space, it's kind of hard to be able to lug a certain amount of materials, but 3D printing is going to be able to change that. So now you could be able to build different civilizations off the planet. So this is the final frontier, the area, the unknown, and we don't know what anybody is doing up there. I'm about to get into my conspiracy theorist aspect of it, but definitely be able, and shout out shout out to the visual you got. Thank you for tuning in. We definitely appreciate you. Let us know where you're tuning in from. This is the Future is Black podcast. So we are doing a number of things, but one thing that I found very, very intriguing, and I'm dealing with a friend of mine who is actually having heart trouble, but they would talk about 3D printing heart tissue. So they're still in the beginning stages of this. I'm not even going to talk about the company because that's not important, but just know that these technologies are actually coming forth. So we talk about artificial limbs, we talking about tissues, we talking about heart replacement, kidney replacement. They're starting to 3D print these things, and growing these tissues and everything. at now right now they were saying that the heart or the organ is actually have a like a life expectancy of about 3 years, which is totally crazy right now. But they're still in the beginning stages of this technology and everything. Soon, instead of waiting for a heart transplant, they're going to be able to 3D print this. I don't know how you'd be able to trust that, but we talk about becoming cyborgs and shoot, most of us. People with pacemakers and stuff like that, who are having things that help extend their life. Now they're actually going to be able to 3D print organs, which is going to be a whole different animal. So that's the technologies that we're going to be able to deal with. But I know space exploration is definitely that final frontier. And when we talk about Afrofuturism, we got to be able to paint the narratives. And I'm not even talk about like space operas like Star Wars or Dune or any of those other things, but just understanding that there's a lens to be able to tap into, when we talk about that. Earth is a 3D printer. I like that. I like that because Earth is a 3D printer. Yes, and you could actually they've been 3D printing houses and everything as well. So if you haven't seen that, that technology already exists. So being able to take that and then being able to put that into outer space is something that's forthcoming. And if you're not aware of this stuff, this is definitely stuff that you need to be able to tap into. Part of what we do here at the Futures Black podcast is not only educate, but we want you to be a part of this because we need everyone here to be the creators and innovators within these spaces, not only being consumers within the space. So that is something that we want you to all be a part of. I mean, I want to thank everyone for like tuning in because Afrofuturism, which has its roots in a number of things that's been going on, throughout, the world. And we talk about creativity, the best way to predict the future is to create it. We want you to be able to create the future. We want you to be able to tap in. We want you to, not only explore your own creativity, but we want you to be able to create your own future, with regards to this. Oh, and we got a shout out for a 3D printer. Check out the Miyamaki 3D printers. I haven't experienced those yet, but you know, thank you for you know, putting us on, and I'm gonna definitely research that, after we get off the podcast and stuff. So that is something that we definitely want to be able to do. And then we're coming to the end of season one, so I am super excited. Like we're about to be 12 episodes in, man. And this intersection of Afrofuturism with the real world social and political issues, how do we look at reparations? What does reparations look like? How does this world look, outside of the violence and everything, that the social ills that we deal with, within our communities, within the hood, within all of the stuff that we deal with on a daily basis. How do we take this from dystopia to a utopia? For Black and Browns, how do we do that? What does equity look like? That's what Afrofuturism is, and that's definitely something that we want to always be able to tap into. So next week, we're going to kind of cap off season one with Afrofuturist Unveiled. Afrofuturist Unveiled, that is something that we're going to tap into. So if you haven't tuned in, make sure you tap into the Futures Black podcast each and every week. Each and every week, we need you to do a few things. We need you to help us grow this channel. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share to help us grow this particular podcast. We've been doing this strong each and every week. Next week we'll have our host Dilettante J Bass be back here with us. Shout out to him, shout out to Melvin. You're in our prayers. And then all of the other people who are doing the work out there. I gave you a shout out earlier, but I want you to continue to push forward to be able to show our people that this is something that is super phenomenal. Oh man, I just noticed that our light has been turned off this whole time. See what that looked like. Oh, There we go. There we go. I'm back in focus. There we go. I didn't even realize it was off, but it looked good on it looked good so far. So I definitely, not mad at it, but definitely wanted to make sure that we put it in there. So we got a lot of things coming up and we're excited about the next couple of weeks. So if you're in the Miami area and you want to be a part of the Futures Black Tesla Light Show, make sure you sign up. Make sure you go to the KHEMFest.com site. That will be your source for everything. If you want to be a part of the BikeCon week, you look for something to do, you're in the South Florida area, or you want to take a trip to South Florida, make sure you tap in. We got a lot of things, a lot of activities that's going on. Please make sure that you tap into that. And with that, I think we're gonna close out because all of the stuff that we touched on is super, super phenomenal. But I'm just excited about what's coming forth next week. So continue to tune in, continue to tap in, don't tap out. And we need you to do a few things. We need you to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Let them know the things that we're doing, with regards to the Futures Black podcast. We're looking to change this paradigm of black and browns within the STEM fields, but also being able to predict the future and be able to tell stories where we are at the forefront and we are not the stereotype. We're the main character, we're the side character, we're the protagonist, antagonist, and being able to tell these valuable stories. And that's the way that we are going to be able to move beyond Wakanda. So with that, I thank you all for tuning in. This is the Futures Black podcast. Thank you. And with that, we'll and one more time, I wanted to just to kind of show you guys what the week is going to look like at BikeCon week, and we want to just kind of show you that. So once again, thank you for everybody for tuning in. This is Naseed Gifted coming to you live. Definitely appreciate each and every one of you for tapping in. Don't tap out. Continue to build and dream, and with that, peace.